Hey folks, welcome back. So we're going to talk about the AC system in this car that just recently upgraded. We did it in two stages. Last year we put in a POA valve replacement type of deal. We'll explain that a little bit. And then we did the new AC compressor and updated kind of like a more modern style, lot different than the one that was originally on it. And this is an update video because I wanted to let everybody know who's curious about maybe doing something like this how well it works. And I can sit here and tell you that so far it's working quite well. As you can see later on in the clip that I showed, cruising down the highway at about 75 miles an hour or so, give or take, somewhere between 30, little bit above 32 degrees to maybe 35, somewhere around in there, what was coming out of the vents with the thermometer in there. It's cold. I think it was probably 87 degrees that day, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not much humidity, but it was working extremely well. In town it was probably running about with slower speed, stop and go lights and this, that, and the other, and it was probably running about maybe 42-ish, a little bit above 40, so that wasn't too bad at all. But you get it out on the highway and you get more airflow across the condenser and stuff like that. It's really working good, and it's working good off of 134A. I'll talk about the type of Freon that I put in it because it's way different than anything else I've ever put in. So anyways, we'll get this hood open and I'll show you what we got going on. Alright, there's the new compressor, and there's our POA valve replacement, which just makes it into a spot to have a cycling switch there. So if the pressures get to where that it could possibly ice up the lines and the evaporator core and all that type of stuff, it cycles the compressor clutch, turns it off for a little bit, lets things come back down, and then it restarts it again. Normally your compressor, like if it's really hot outside and you're running down the highway and stuff like that, and you got maybe you got the blower on full blast, they usually don't need to cycle. It's normally when you have it on a low setting, or maybe like defrost setting in winter, things like that. So that's what this thing is jobs do. The POA valves didn't have that cycling switch. Once you turn the compressor on, it was just on. The POA valve would bypass and let some of the Freon go by, and then it would close more as it needed to. Kind of doing the same thing. I mean, you've got this line right here that went on there. That was how the original went. And then you can get these things close to either a new reproduction or rebuilt or whatever like that. I just wanted to go with this and give it a try and see. And this we put on last year and ran it all summer. So I daily drive this car pretty much every day in summer. Air conditioning system worked really well. And then the compressor had a little bit of a leak, so decided to and it was leaking out of the base or the body of the compressor itself. And so there's no choice, either have to get a new one or get it rebuilt or whatever. So that's when we decided to get this one, because it came up as an option. This is a Murray brand. Came from O'Reilly's, about $360, give or take. Fits right in perfectly, everything. But it seems to work really well. It doesn't seem like when this thing does cycle or do anything like that, you don't feel it as much. So I think it takes less effort to actually turn it. And so I mean, it's like I said, it's working great. The only thing that one thing I was disappointed with it about was I like to see the clutch, when I've got this open, and I like to see the clutch actually engage. But this plate is on the way, and I actually removed this. You can take these 3 screws off and this plate will come off, and then you can see the clutch cycle, but right now as it stands, everything here turns. You know, these are kind of weird, but you know, they turn too, but that's just how it's designed. I just elected to put the plate back on just to keep junk and everything out of there. It just is what it is. But you know, when I'm driving the car, you ain't gonna be able to see it anyways. It's just when I'm working on it or doing other things and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, it's really working phenomenal. Let's talk about the Freon. So after we replaced the expansion valve yet again. You know, I replaced it last year, but I replaced it again this year, just because I had the system all opened up. And as far as Freon goes, well, let's have a look see at the old compressor. Okay, so there is the old compressor right here, and it talks about, you know, this is R12, but this is how many pounds of Freon the system would take. So you got 4.25 pounds plus or minus 0.25. So basically you can put 4 pounds in it. You can probably put 4.5 pounds in it, and you should be fine with doing R12. Last year, I think we probably got by with, and I can't remember, you have to check out that other video about when we put the POA valve in, because I do have two other videos, one about the POA valve replacement deal, and the other one with installing the compressor. So check those out for more detail about what we did as far as any of these systems go. But I think we got by with about 35% less Freon going with R12. We ran R12 through that compressor with this setup, because that's how this thing is designed to go. It actually comes with your R134A low side port. You'll have to use an adapter. You know, I got an adapter that fits over the top of this for your high side. I don't keep it on there, but just 'cause I don't want it to leak. But anyways, let's talk about the Freon I use, because I bought this stuff. I wasn't sure. I liked the price of it, and it looked like to me that, you know, it says that it was 21 ounces. But what's interesting is it replaces, you know, the HFC 134A, equivalent to 21 ounces. But if you look at this, net weight 8 ounces. So it's actually got 8 ounces of Freon in here, but it says it's equivalent to 21. And you wouldn't believe that when I put 2.5 of these cans in here, which would be, if let's say this was 21, so that would be, you know, 21 and 21, what is that, 42 ounces? And then another half. Well, it wasn't even quite a half. So I would say that we probably put close to 48, I think, 48 ounces in this thing. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but it was dang near half a bottle. So it was 2.5 bottles. So that's 21 and 21. That's 42. You know, plus 12 is what, 54? So that'd be 54 ounces. You know, so if you had 4 pounds, 4 times with 16 ounces in a pound, you know, that's gonna be 64 ounces. And we come up with in between 52 to 54. I mean, that percentage, you know, and that's, like I said, it's going to be a lesser percentage with 134A. Now granted, this stuff, you know, it's right there, which I think is just interesting, because technically we really only put 16, 8 and 8, 16 plus 4. We really only put about 20 actual ounces of this in there. But however it works, and that's beyond my chemistry knowledge or any of that kind of stuff. You know, and I want to say this was probably $12 or $13 or something. That's why it attracted me, the price of it and everything. It still has the old style, but you can use the new. You know, all you have to do is just run your puncture deal down. like right on this deal or whatever, I have one of these too, but you know, this is made to go in this one, but you can use it on that other one. It fits right on there. You just have to puncture the hole, but just once you puncture it, it's not going to reseal itself again. That's kind of why they started making them the other way. But apparently this thing is SUV compatible. It even, you know, it said something about it was good for farm tractor, agriculture, but apparently it's non-ozone depleting, super cold air, well that's true, and non-global warming. Not even going to get into any of that, but I mean, it's just interesting. So that's why I'm putting out this video to talk about this, because it, you know, and compared to my experience with this thing, I mean, it's working the best it's ever. See, you'll see with the clip from the actual with the thermometer in the dash that I'll put on the end of here, and you know, I'll probably just go ahead and insert that clip right now. Well, here we are cruising down the road about 75 miles an hour. I don't know if that's coming in at all or not, but we're about 35 degrees, give or take. There we are. I can almost say it's like about below 35, like 30, 32 in my opinion. So I'm not 100% sure about doing the math, but if we do the 64 and we go times 0.25, basically 16 less ounces, or so you go, that's 16 comes up with that. So 64 minus 16 is 48, and so 48 ounces is 25% less than 64, which 64 is the recommended amount for the R12 in here. Yeah, I mean, and basically we got to about 48, I think 50. I think 50 is what I put in here. And of the EnviroSafe stuff there, that there was about, I think 12 cans or whatever, like all for about 125 bucks. I think that's all I can really remember as far as price goes. But when using the EnviroSafe stuff, go with what it's equivalent to, you know, the 21, because I mean, like I said, I went 21 and 21, that's 42. Plus 12 is 54. So yeah, I guess we went a little bit higher, but I kind of think I went a little bit less. So I want to say we're in between the 50 and 52 ounce range, but it actually wasn't that because of what I just explained with that. But what it said on the can is what we went by with how much to put in here. And you know, at really high RPM, this compressor doesn't cycle. It would if it was just sitting here and maybe getting too iced up or something like that. It's going to cycle everyone, but it's not cycling that much cruising down the highway at 75 miles an hour, which I don't know what RPM this would run at. I would guess it's probably a little over 2 grand, 2,500. I don't think it's quite up to 3, to be honest. These cars are really high geared, because you can do well over that, and it, you know, you don't ever sound like the engine's going to be winding up or anything like that. So yeah, it's interesting, but hopefully that helps you out some if you're doing it with your car or whatever. It doesn't matter whether it's this kind of car or anything like that. You know, that stuff's pretty good for the Freon. I'm happy with it. System's working great. Go by with what's on the can. From my experience, that's how it's, you know, it's working, and hopefully this helped you out some. Might do a later update or something like that as far as like how this system's working as it gets a little bit hotter and a longer time and more use and all that stuff. But so far it's been in about a little over a month, and it's been working freaking great. So thanks for watching.